Today, please welcome Elgin Hushbeck in his regular series of Friday morning podcasts on Christian apologetics.
Recently, a friend asked me to check out a website that was asking for help addressing some of the claims made in an anti-Christian movie posted on the web. After watching the first part of Zeitgeist the movie, the first thing that struck me, besides the obvious error, was how dated the movie was. Its main argument stems from pointing out parallels between Christian beliefs and other belief systems, with the conclusion, implied or blatant, that there must therefore be a link. Such reasoning was popular among skeptics during the first half of the 20th century and earlier, but as more serious work was done, such arguments were discarded, particularly after Samuel Sandmel's article Parallelomania in the 1960s. The main flaw with such arguments is that they are selective and thus superficial. They are selective in that they do only those things that match and ignore the differences. This leads them to be superficial, for the mere appearance of a parallel, however weak, is taken as a parallel. The net result is that you can find meaning and significance where it does not exist. For example, consider the parallels that have been noted between the assassinations of Lincoln and Kennedy. The problem scholars found out is that the more they looked for parallels, the more they found them, even between things that clearly did not have any links. Thus scholars long ago concluded that such parallels were pretty much meaningless. However, a more serious problem occurs with the film's choice of parallels. Most of the first part of the film is linked in one way or another to Jesus being born on December 25th, and how this links with the winter solstice celebrations. The problem is that one thing pretty much all scholars agree on, skeptical and believers alike, is that Jesus was not born on December 25th. The New Testament describes the shepherds in the field with their sheep at the time of Jesus' birth, which would have been highly unlikely on December 25th, and points more to the springtime. The reason we celebrate December 25th is because a couple of centuries after the birth of Christ, the church set that date deliberately to replace the winter solstice celebrations. So of course there is a parallel to the winter solstice celebrations, but not for the reason implied in the film. With this fact alone, most of the first half of this part of the film falls apart. Another problematic parallel is the movie's claim that the cross is actually an astrological cross, symbolic of the zodiac. While again there may be a parallel here, it is hardly meaningful, and in fact goes straight to the heart of the problem with such reasoning. What the movie ignores is that there is a very good reason Christians use the symbol of the cross, and it has nothing at all to do with astrology. Christians refer to the cross because Jesus was crucified on a cross. In short, the cross is a factor in Christianity because it was used as a Roman method of execution, not because of any astrological meaning. Very much the same thing can be said about the movie's claim that the crown of thorns represents sun rays. But even some of the movie's parallels don't quite work out. The movie tries to make the claim that the Bible is really an astrological text, and the biblical term age refers to astrological ages such as Taurus, Aries, Pisces, and Aquarius. The movie makes the point that Jesus was born at just about the time of the beginning of the age of Pisces, but also claims that Moses represents the new age of Aries, and that the reason he broke the tablets was because the Jews were worshiping a bull, a symbol of Taurus, the previous age. They were in the age of Aries, and that is why Jews blow the ram's horn. The idea that Jews used the ram's horn because they raised sheep and the horn could be made into an instrument was not really considered. But a more serious problem is that the movie lists the age of Aries from 2150 BC to 1 AD. But even the earliest date given by scholars for the Exodus, the mid-15th century BC, is over 650 years after the age began. But no problem, Moses was in the age and that is close enough. Similar problems arise with the claim that Jesus represents the age of Pisces, whose symbol is two fish. Predictably, the movie points out the miracles of the feeding of the 5,000, yet interestingly, while they show the text, we only have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, Matthew 14:17, the narrator says Jesus feeds the 5,000 people with bread and 2 fish. Note the number of loaves of bread is not mentioned by the narrator, while in the text 5 is spelled out, but 2 is not. Why? The simple reason is that the fish make the parallel they seek, while the bread does not. Wouldn't a better explanation for the 2 fish be that fish were a common food source in that area, and in fact, if someone would have food, it probably would have been bread and fish. Similarly, the movie claims that people do not know that the fish symbol on their cars is actually pagan astrological symbolism for the sun kingdom during the age of Pisces. Of course, the real explanation does not fit their parallel, and so is ignored. Early Christians adopted the fish symbol not for any astrological meaning, but because the Greek word for fish, ichthus, is an acronym for the Greek words Jesus Christ, God's Son, Savior. More next time. This is Elgin Hushbeck asking you to consider Christianity a faith based on fact.
You have been listening to Elgin Hushbeck Jr. on Running Toward the Goal, sponsored by Pacesetters Bible School in Pensacola, Florida. For more information on Elgin's books or to arrange for him to speak at your church, check the Running Toward the Goal blog at running.biblepacesetter.org. Again, that's running.biblepacesetter.org. Thanks for listening, and may God richly bless you.